We head inside the Roundhouse with New Mexico In Focus political correspondent Gwyneth Doland.
It's the last week of the legislative session, which this year coincides with Sunshine Week. That's a national celebration of access to information we as reporters need to do our jobs. I'm here with Dan Boyd of the Albuquerque Journal. Dan, you've been reporting on the budget. There have been complaints about transparency as the budget has moved through and with the omnibus tax package. Are these complaints new?
No, they're not new. This is something we deal with on a yearly basis. There have been attempts to kind of improve transparency, but a lot of times we're still struggling to try to get up-to-date information about the budget numbers, what it really means for New Mexicans, and then obviously to try to present that information to readers and do that on a daily basis. So it can be a struggle to try to find out what these changes are and then be able to digest them and convey that information.
Now we're used to this because it is always a struggle, but could it be better?
I think it could. I mean, I think now, especially with so many things being digital, if the information could be presented to people, I think people are interested in, the rebates that they might be getting this year, about their tax rates, about spending on different programs and schools, things like that. Certainly the format of the session makes it difficult when you're facing a time crunch, but I think more of an emphasis could be placed on trying to get this information out there before these votes, take place.
We struggled for years. Open government advocates, journalists struggled for years to get more information about capital outlay, money that goes to infrastructure projects. Each lawmaker gets their own little pot. It used to be secret, now it's public. Now there is a push to get extra information about the junior bill. What's the junior bill and why would that information be helpful?
So the junior bill is also a spending bill. It's kind of similar to capital outlay, but it's more for state agencies and programs and things like that. So what they're talking about is kind of like capital outlay. It would be a baby step toward transparency, but at least requiring after the session ends to disclose which legislator funded which project. So at least then the public can see that and, a little more accountability for how that money is spent.
Overall, since you've been reporting on the legislature, has transparency improved?
I think it has improved. I think there's been some efforts, certainly with the webcasting. We've seen some pretty good leaps in that. I think with the budget process, it's hard to break that culture of a lot of this happening behind closed doors. So there's been tiny little steps, but I think there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Rob Black, thank you for being with us today. You represent 1,000 businesses all over the state, maybe 50% of the workforce in New Mexico. How is transparency important to businesses in New Mexico, businesses large and small?
Understanding how decisions get made and what makes up those decisions is really important for how businesses determine where they're going to invest, who they need to hire to do the work. So having a good understanding of where decisions are being made and how is really important for the business community to be able to grow and thrive in the state.
Over the years, chambers of commerce in New Mexico have advocated for more open government, and we have seen changes. We've seen an increase in webcasting, more information on the website. We've now got information about capital outlay, and they're pushing for more information about the budget and supplemental funding. What more transparency would the business community like to see up here?
Well, I think one of the things, and we are supportive of this, is getting more staff for the legislature, because frankly, whenever you're doing new committees and agendas, they're running late. You may not have any idea what is on the agenda that may be heard that's really relevant to your business until it's too late to even show up or sign up to do public comment or make a comment. So I think there has to be more proactive efforts to get that information out early for the public to engage. I do salute the legislature for doing the hybrid work. That allows for our members who may be in grants or in Las Cruces to engage with the legislature without all the way, driving all the way up here or just relying on us to be their voice and they can be their voice directly. So I think those technology pieces are really important, but we do need to invest in staff so they can be more proactive in getting that information out effectively to the public.
Senator Munoz, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So you are the chair of the Senate Finance Committee. Part of your job is wrangling the budget. This is the biggest state budget we've ever had, but there have been complaints about backdoor deals, some machinations, finagling with the budget at the last minute. Has this process been transparent?
This is the most transparent budget we've ever seen. We've never done Senate amendments in language, Senate amendments in open and public before. And so people complain, but it's the people complaining that aren't getting what they want. And do they really need it? With $4 million in capital, $900,000 in junior money, transparency is so clear. I mean, the junior bill with the amendment with everybody's name on what they appropriated, the capital bill with everybody's name on what they appropriated, and with Senate Finance doing everything in the open.
A few years ago, the legislature decided to make public the information about capital outlay, who's funding which infrastructure projects and for how much. And so now there is this push to do this with the junior bill. Should we even have this bill that just hands out money for special projects?
Well, the junior bill was intended to really help agencies with budget requests. That was the junior bill to offset Senate amendments. And now the junior bill is completely turned different. And so I don't think there'll be a junior bill again. But the intention was, instead of doing Senate amendments, you're going to do it through junior with legislators saying, I love the Environment Department. Oh, I love economic development. Oh, I love tourism. And that's the money where it should have went. But the junior bill has turned topsy-turvy. And with their name on it, you'll be able to see clearly where they're appropriating money.
So I'm hearing you criticize the way the junior bill has done now, and this is the same criticism that we used to hear about capital outlay. How could this work in a more perfect universe?
Well, we amended the junior bill so legislators, everybody knows whose legislators are sponsoring what. That's clarity, right?
But could there be a process where people plan this stuff maybe more ahead of time, or it goes into the budget to begin with?
Well, it's hard to manage that because until we know what our budget looks like, and when we didn't have money before, it was a bigger fight. And so everybody comes here with a priority. We all live in different districts. We all think differently on what we think needs to be appropriated. And so when we tried to do the junior bill, that's what our thought process was. Help the agencies, CYFD, whoever it may be, whichever agency, to get the full funding that they need. And then you have say in the budget process.
Can you give me an example of some more of the kinds of things that happen because of the money in the junior bill?
Well, I can tell you where I appropriated my money, right? My money went to the judicial courts. It went to buy police vehicles. It went to domestic violence, where the greatest needs were. And so I know that in my district for the courts, they needed money for security, and that's where I put my money.
There were complaints that the governor kind of pushed the budget around, pushed the tax package around a little bit. Is this normal? Is this the way that business is done? Should that be more public?
Well, I don't think the governor pushed, right? We come up here and we try to come to a consensus. We know, and I know, that I like opportunity scholarship. I think that giving every kid a chance to go to school is a good thing to do. Any education we can get a kid is a good thing. So we rearranged the way the House sent it over. They sent it over short. And so we rearranged what happened and put it in recurring dollars. I think that's an agreement, not really a backdoor push. I think that's just something we can agree on. Rural health care. There's another thing that the exec really wanted. And I think is good for all of New Mexico. Well, it came over short. So what do? We got to rearrange the deck chairs and put the money where it goes to work with a Medicaid match. And we get to the dollar amount with less money and the governor's agreement.
Is there anything I didn't ask you that you want people to know about how things have worked out this session or the budget or transparency?
Well, you know, the media has eaten up this, oh, it's not, it's behind the door deals, and it's really not. I mean, the old days, you used to go over to LFC. They sit you in a room, and you go through language and you go through money, and that's ended. And since I've been the chair of Senate Finance, there's been more openness about the budget process than there ever was before. And the problem with our budget process is last-minute deals that go behind the bill that sometimes they absolutely have to happen. I will give you a perfect example. Homeland Security was short on federal funding to get federal matches. And so that's a priority for us to do at the last minute and put that money through because we have another natural disaster. They'll have the ability to go grab that money and match it with federal money and do what they need to do. So there is some stuff that has to be done, although they don't see the agencies come in and they don't present every time they need 300,000 or 200,000. And as we make up the shortage in the agencies, some of that process you just kind of do on your own, say it's the right thing to do. I was elected and I was chosen by the Senate to lead the Senate Finance Committee and to make those decisions that matter to agencies that are important to things, people or agencies when things happen.